Look at a phrase like nirbija samadhi on this manuscript. For most of us, reading ancient Sanskrit feels like looking at an artifact from another world, beautiful, poetic, and entirely inaccessible. Because we don't speak the language, we treat these terms as linguistic walls. We assume that whatever these ancient texts are describing is purely philosophical, a soft metaphor rather than practical knowledge. But if we treat these texts as literal biological blueprints, the language of the mystics becomes a technical manual for the human body, waiting for the right tools to be decoded. Testing that theory led one researcher down a massive labyrinth. This web represents 186 interconnected research projects. Neuroscience calls this an attractor state, a gravitational pull in the mind, where one single question demands an answer, pulling you inward until you map the whole system. Translating these mystical attractor states into measurable science allows us to access the ancient human technology hidden inside our own bodies. To understand where that urge to investigate actually comes from, we have to look inside the physical human brain. During sleep, a system called the default mode network, or DMN, takes over. It acts as a massive recombination engine, sorting through all the scattered, chaotic information you absorbed during the day and testing it for hidden structures. If you look at this neural network diagram, you can see what happens when the DMN detects a sequence that the conscious mind missed. It generates a hypothesis. The scattered data snaps into place, forming a recognizable pattern. When the subconscious finds a pattern the conscious mind has not yet understood, the dream becomes a bridge. It delivers a structured hypothesis to the waking mind, often taking the form of a specific research direction or an instructional prompt. Those sudden bursts of obsessive curiosity are the biological result of the brain demanding that we investigate its own hidden physiological architecture. Mapping that architecture is impossible in isolation. Descending into the deeper mind requires a specific structure of external collaboration to keep the inquiry on track. In this specific descent, it took 3 distinct roles to map the territory: a catalyst to question the ideas, an embodied practitioner to physically test the theories through movement, and a philosopher guide to provide new directions for inquiry. Notice how these modern roles align with historical archetypes. The catalyst mirrors the gatekeeper who challenges the seeker. The practitioner serves as the bridge between theory and body, and the philosopher acts as the guide. These functional roles appear whenever a labyrinth is mapped. Whether the map is created by ancient storytellers or modern neuroscientists, the structural requirements for deep discovery remain constant. With that collaborative structure in place, the actual decoding work begins, systematically translating ancient texts into modern physiology. Take a look at this side-by-side comparison. On the left is the ancient mystical concept of pratyahara, often translated loosely as withdrawing the senses. On the right is its biological equivalent, a medical graph showing exactly how the nervous system physically collapses and dysregulates when crashing under stress. As the concept of focused energy morphs into view on the left, the data on the right shifts to a brain topography map. This demonstrates how consciousness physically reorganizes its neural networks under extreme attention. This alignment raises an obvious question. If these texts are strictly biological, why did the authors write them to sound so poetic and cryptic? The original observers simply lacked scientific instruments. Without functional MRI machines or EEG monitors, they were forced to use the vocabulary of symbols and metaphors to describe internal biological realities. Ancient symbolism functioned as a technical placeholder for neurobiology, used to describe physiological states that were experienced long before they could be measured. We can apply this exact same translation to the most misunderstood concept in all of ancient literature: samadhi. Traditionally, samadhi is viewed as a fleeting, mystical peak experience, a rare state of enlightenment reserved only for a chosen few who spend decades meditating. But this line graph shows a different reality. Instead of a temporary spike, the fluctuating, chaotic baseline of the nervous system plateaus and stabilizes at a significantly higher, permanent level. Samadhi is a stable, evolutionary biological trait. As a measurable biological trait, samadhi becomes a state that can be targeted and trained through specific physiological protocols. The ancient maps and modern neuroscience are observing the exact same internal territory. We finally have the curriculum to prove it. Those gravitational pulls in your mind, the highly structured dreams, the rabbit holes of intense curiosity, they are an internal initiation, guiding you to master your own evolutionary biology.